And we are super excited that you guys came to the very first door-to-door organic smoothie and juicing class. So thank you guys so much for coming. And because I am a blogger, I'm going to take a selfie. You guys all get to be in the background because I think it is beyond cool that we have this many people that are interested in juicing. All right, awesome. And I'll be posting that to Instagram. What? Okay. Yeah, you're not. You're right. We can do it too. You're right. Woo! Smoothie and juicy. Oh, you guys, come on! Let's excited. Okay. Awesome. All right, just a couple of housekeeping things for everybody. You guys all should have had cups as you sat down. When you sat down in your chairs, if you didn't get a cup, go find a seat that has a cup because you'll want to take that home. The second thing is that we have super great giveaways at the end of this class. We're giving away a $100 gift card to Door-to-Door Organics, as well as a brand new Blendtec. So if you haven't yet had a chance to sign up when you walked in, make sure that you do that and put your little form in the entry because this is kind of the last opportunity to do that. And then finally, there's samples in the very back of the room if you haven't had a chance. There were the Green Goddess juice and the ABC juice, both of which we're going to be showing you how to make today. If you haven't had a chance to try the ABC juice, please don't let beets deter you. I despise beets with a passion, but I love that juice. So it's definitely, if you're like, I don't like beets, I don't think I like to eat beets, just give that one a shot. It's only a 1 ounce pour. It's just like doing a shot. If you don't like it, don't have to do it again. All right, so let's do an icebreaker. I want everybody to stand up. Okay, and I want you to stay standing if you've had a smoothie before. Just a smoothie. Doesn't matter if it's green or orange or brown. Just stay standing. All right, so nobody sat down. That's awesome. I want you to stay standing if you've had a green juice before. If you haven't, then sit down. If you haven't had a green juice before, sit down. Nobody look at them in shame later on. It's okay that they haven't had a green juice before. It's brand new. It's all right. I want you to stay standing if you've made a green smoothie at home before. If you have not, then sit back down. And then stay standing if you've made a green juice at home before. If not, sit down. Okay, honestly, everybody still standing could teach this class today. And your job you guys can sit down, your job is to be good health advocates. I think this is super cool that we have this many people that are interested in juicing and smoothies because it's about taking your health back, to be quite honest. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about specifically juices and the things that go inside juices and what juicers there are out there and the differences between juicing and smoothies. And then we'll talk specifically about smoothies and why they're important and the things that they can do for your body. Okay, so my story and how I think Door-to-Door Organics makes all of this work is that when I turned 40, I had the normal aches and pains that happen to every 40-year-old. But in addition to that, I was having hormonal imbalances, I wasn't sleeping good at night, and I was really trying to figure out how I could make a difference in my life without having to go to the doctor to get another pill. Because honestly, that is what was being advised to me. They were like, no, just go to the doctor, get on some Ambien, get on some Xanax, you will be fine. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to find a way in which I could cure myself through the things that I ate and I drank in order to figure out what my body needed, because evidently it needed something that I wasn't giving it in order to get back into a regular balance. Smoothie and juicing class. So thank you guys so much for coming. And because I am a blogger, I'm going to take a selfie. You guys all get to be in the background because I think it is beyond cool that we have this many people that are interested in juicing. All right, awesome. And I'll be posting that to Instagram. What? Okay. Yeah, you're not. You're right. We can do it too. You're right. Woo! Smoothie and juicy. Oh, you guys, come on. Let's excited. Okay. Awesome. All right, just a couple of housekeeping things for everybody. You guys all should have had cups as you sat down. When you sat down in your chairs, if you didn't get a cup, go find a seat that has a cup because you'll want to take that home. The second thing is that we have super great giveaways at the end of this class. We're giving away a $100 gift card to Door-to-Door Organics, as well as a brand new Blendtec. So if you haven't yet had a chance to sign up when you walked in, make sure that you do that and put your little form in the entry because this is kind of the last opportunity to do that. And then finally, there's samples in the very back of the room if you haven't had a chance. There were the Green Goddess juice and the ABC juice, both of which we're going to be showing you how to make today. If you haven't had a chance to try the ABC juice, please don't let beets deter you. I despise beets with a passion, but I love that juice. So it's definitely, if you're like, I don't like beets, I don't think I like to eat beets, just give that one a shot. It's only a 1 ounce pour. It's just like doing a shot. If you don't like it, don't have to do it again. All right, so let's do an icebreaker. I want everybody to stand up. Okay, and I want you to stay standing if you've had a smoothie before. Just a smoothie. Doesn't matter if it's green or orange or brown. Just stay standing. All right, so nobody sat down. That's awesome. I want you to stay standing if you've had a green juice before. If you haven't, then sit down. If you haven't had a green juice before, sit down. Nobody look at them in shame later on. It's okay that they haven't had a green juice before. It's brand new. It's all right. I want you to stay standing if you've made a green smoothie at home before. If you have not, then sit back down. And then stay standing if you've made a green juice at home before. If not, sit down. Okay, like, honestly, everybody still standing could teach this class today. And your job you guys can sit down, your job is to be good health advocates. I think this is super cool that we have this many people that are interested in juicing and smoothies because it's about taking your health back, to be quite honest. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about specifically juices and the things that go inside juices and what juicers there are out there and the differences between juicing and smoothies. And then we'll talk specifically about smoothies and why they're important and the things that they can do for your body. Okay, so my story and how I think door-to-door organics makes all of this work is that when I turned 40, I had the normal aches and pains that happen to every 40-year-old. But in addition to that, I was having hormonal imbalances, I wasn't sleeping good at night, and I was really trying to figure out how I could make a difference in my life without having to go to the doctor to get another pill. Because honestly, that is what was being advised to me. They were like, no, just go to the doctor, get on some Ambien, get on some Xanax, you will be fine. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to find a way in which I could cure myself through the things that I ate and I drank in order to figure out what my body needed, because evidently it needed something that I wasn't giving it in order to get back into a regular balance. I started doing some research, but I will be very honest in that green smoothies and green juices scared the living bejeebas out of me. Because when I would look at my friends that were talking about juicing, it was always for a cleanse, and I really thought that that was just a dramatic way of saying weight loss. You know, that my girlfriends are like, we're on a 3-day juice cleanse. And I'm like, you just want to lose 10 pounds. Or when I would see pictures of my friends that would post their juices online, I would be like, man, that looks like some juice and some lawnmower clippings. And I'm really not sure that that's what I want to be drinking for my lunch. And so I was nervous, and I was very fortunate in that I had a really good friend, Jonna, and Jonna said, Kel, here we go. And she gave me a very basic green juice recipe, very similar to the Green Goddess juice that you guys had back there. Who had that? Wasn't that just amazing? Yeah, super good, right? A very basic juice recipe, and I'll be honest, like the first time, because I got my bread bill and I was making it, and I was like, it's going to take this lawnmower clippings, it's going to taste like lawnmower clippings, and it doesn't. And I found that when I started juicing and green smoothieing on a regular basis, and this was between 3 and 4 times a week, that I was having dramatic differences in my health. I was having more energy, my hormones were leveling out, I was sleeping so much better at night. It did take a while for it to kick in. That's one of the misnomers I think about juicing and smoothies, is that they feel like, well, if I just do it once a week, then my health is going to dramatically change. And that's not true. You need to be able to incorporate it into your regular everyday life. And you also need to be dedicated to doing that for about 30 days to get your body adjusted. In many cases, your body is deficient in a lot of those vitamins and minerals that you get from your juices and smoothies. And so it takes a while for your body to be able to take those back in and to get you back regulated to where you need to be. I will also tell you that I'm really fortunate in that we get a door-to-door organics delivery every week. I think probably as a lot of you do as well. And so it takes the excuses out of it. It's really easy to make excuses about not having juices and smoothies in your life when you don't have the produce at home. But because door-to-door constantly sends those to me, and I get them every day delivered, not every day, but every week delivered to my front door, and so I always have the things that I need on hand in order to have those juices and smoothies. We're going to talk about the differences between juices and smoothies because they are different and they're not the same. And typically they get lumped into one big category, and that's great because they're both very healthy, but they are very, very different in what they can do for your body, and they're very, very different in how our body reacts with it. So let's first talk about a juice. What a juice is that it's going to separate from when you have fruits and vegetables put together. The juice is going to separate the pulp from the liquid. Okay, so when you drink a juice, you're totally just getting juice. You're getting no pulp, no fiber in that. It's a juice only. When you make a juice, it's going to be 3 parts. You're going to have a base, which is usually going to be like a cucumber or a celery. It is a high-density water vegetable that is very low in calorie. Your second piece is that you're going to have some sort of fruit. Okay, fruits that I love are green apples and pears. I also love to put in strawberries and berries when they're in season. Just any fruit that you think that you're going to enjoy. Oranges, that's your fruit piece. And then finally, the third piece is that you need the green. Okay, and your green is usually going to be consisting of your kale and your spinach. If you are starting out with juicing, I would recommend staying down on the spinach line of things. It's a lot more milder. As you get more adventurous in your juicing, start looking at doing kale and collard greens and some of the other things. When you think of a ratio, the best ratio that I can tell you is what I refer to it as a 2-to-1. You want to have 2 greens for every 1 fruit. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to make sure that these are low cal and high vitamin. And if you don't have that 2-to-1 ratio, you can end up with a really high calorie juice with not a whole lot of the other stuff going on. Because it's easy, man. Let's throw 6 oranges in there and a mango and maybe some strawberries and then a little bit of spinach. Okay, that juice would taste awesome, guaranteed. But it's going to be pretty high in calorie and you're not going to be getting all the benefits that you do get from green. So make sure that it is definitely a 2-to-1. Just always think of that. 2 handfuls of whatever to 1 fruit. 2 handfuls of whatever of my green stuff to 1 fruit. And then finally, the benefits of juicing is because juicing doesn't have any of the pulp in it, is that your body instantaneously is able to get those vitamins and minerals. And they are absorbed into your system within 15 minutes of drinking them. There are juices out there that are better than a cup of coffee, guaranteed. Because your body is able to absorb them so much quicker than a regular cup of coffee. Okay? The other benefit is that you're going to have your digestive system a break. Because with the juice, you're not having to process the pulp. So really it just comes in, it gets absorbed, and it flushes out. Which is the third benefit, is that it does an amazing job of flushing toxins out of your body. If you think that you're going to drink like about a 12-ounce juice, I mean, that's the equivalent of drinking almost 12 ounces of water. You're literally flushing your body, plus you get all of those added benefits of your minerals and vitamins. So that's kind of what that's kind of the benefits of juicing. One of the downsides of juicing is that you're going to have a lot of extra stuff. You know, you're going to have, you'll see this right now, you see the produce that's behind me. It takes a lot of produce, a lot of spinach, a lot of kale in order to get enough juice to come out. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're just starting out, you may have a moment in which you're like, I just put a whole bunch of kale in there, and about 4 tablespoons of juice came out. Because it just takes a lot of green leaves in order to produce that juice out. It's not a bad thing, but it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, a smoothie. A smoothie blends everything. So it takes all of the fruits, all of the greens, all of it, and blends it together. So it's everything. It's your vitamins and minerals, and it's the pulp that's all going to go inside that blender. There's 4 parts to a smoothie. You're going to need a liquid of some sort. That can be water, that can be coconut water, that could be almond milk, that could be regular milk, whatever you want to do, but it needs to have some sort of base. The second piece that you're going to have is that you're going to have your greens. Again, very similar to juicing, you're going to have your kale or your spinach as your green. Your third part is that you're going to have a fruit. Okay? What's great about smoothies is that there's a lot of smoothies that do better, fruits that do better in a smoothie than they do in a juice. Not to say it's bad or different, it's just that berries tend to do better in smoothies than they do in juicing. Not that you can't juice berries, but they just do better. And then finally, the fourth part is what's great in a smoothie is you can add what I call a fat. And so you can add a nut butter in there, like almond butter, or a protein powder in there. And you can add that into your smoothie to make almost a complete meal. And that is one of the differences in smoothies, is that you can replace your regular eating, your regular lunch, with a smoothie, and you're going to feel full. Why? Because essentially you've eaten a salad with a side of fruit and a peanut butter from a good hunk of peanut butter, and that's going to make you feel full. So they're great for replacing. Okay? The difference is that with a smoothie, it's not as instantaneous of a vitamin fix as a juice is. It's going to take a while for your body to process it and break it down. Smoothies are also really great if you're trying to keep your blood sugar in line. Because again, it's taking you a while to process it. And so if you have blood sugar issues or are diabetic, you can look into putting a smoothie because it's going to make things a lot lower. Versus juicing, again, because it's absorbed within 15 minutes, you're going to have those spikes. And then finally, it makes you feel more full. Again, it's a meal replacement, versus a juicing, it takes a lot more juices in order to feel like you're feeling like you're having a meal of replacement. So those are kind of the differences between the two, and they are different. They're both very beneficial. When I first started out on my journey, I was definitely a smoothie drinker, but over time I will tell you I've become more of a juicer. And that's probably what I primarily do. I have girlfriends that were the opposite. They started in juicing, and then they did juicing over time, and now they really love having their smoothies. That's what they enjoy doing. If you have kids and you're trying to get your kids on board, I would tell you that smoothies are a great gateway for that. I have a lot easier time getting my kids, I have an 11 and 9-year-old, to eat a smoothie than I do some concoction juice that I come out of here. Okay, because every kid's like, green, I don't want to drink green, but ooh, pink, I will drink pink. The one we're using today is a Breville. It's a multi-fountain. I've had this juicer for 3 years. It's the one that did all of the juices behind you that we had. This is a great mid-level juicer. It's a centrifuge juicer, and I'll explain kind of what that is in a second. But that's the one that we're using today. So there's three, in my mind, there's 3 main kinds of juicers. The first is a hand crank. So like we're talking like what our grandmothers used back in the olden days, in which they would hand crank. We've also got hand press juice, hand pressers that would happen. What's great about a hand press is that they're going to be very inexpensive. You're not going to spend a whole lot of money on it, and it's what is referred to as cold pressed. So there's no heat that's involved outside of your muscles that you're using to make happen. The downside of it is that you are going to have quite a bit of waste, and it's going to take a lot of time in order to do that. The 2 most popular ones are the ones we're going to talk about next. One is called a centrifuge juicer, which is the one we're going to use today. What a centrifuge juicer does is it basically spins things so quickly, and then you have pressure that you put on top of it, and it goes through a strainer, your vegetables and juices do, in order to make the juice. What's great about a centrifuge juicer, or what I love the most, is that it does have, it's pretty cost effective. A mid-range centrifuge juicer, you can buy low and high range, but a mid-range is going to cost you about $125. If you're just starting with juicing, I always tell people there's a great Black & Decker one out there for around $30. And if you just want to get your hands, just like, I just want to see if this is going to be great for me, start there. It is going to be more work for cleaning than, say, some of the higher models, but you're still going to be able to get great juice. Okay, with the centrifuge is that you do have a little bit of heat that happens when you juice. Because you are applying pressure and you're having the heat of the spin. And so what that means is that your juices do not stay for very long. Meaning because heat is already immediately on them, is that they're going to start breaking down. So like if you were thinking, I'm going to do like 1 day of juicing, I'm going to make 7 juices and I'm going to do them all and then I'm going to stick in my fridge. With the centrifuge, you're going to have a little bit of problem with that. Because the juices are going to start breaking down immediately because of that little bit of heat. With me, I can make juices and they last for about 1 to 2 days. So if I make a juice on Monday, I'm able to keep it until Wednesday, but after Wednesday, it begins to lose some of its flavor and also it tends to lose some of its vitamins. Okay. You are, with the centrifuge, is that you are going to also experience a little bit of waste, not a terrible amount of waste, but because you're applying pressure and moving out, you are going to experience a little bit of waste in regards to your fruits and vegetables that go through it. Okay, and then the final one that's probably the most popular is called a masticizing juicer. Masticizing. I'm always going to mispronounce that. What that is probably the highest end of the juicers. They run about $300. So they are pretty expensive, but they are amazing if you are into the juicing lifestyle. And the reason that they're amazing is that they use a cold press technology, and so it doesn't break down your juice. So again, it's for somebody that wants to go ahead and make 7 days worth of juice, and because of the way that the process it's worked through, is that your juice is going to be able to stay for 7 days because there's no heat that's applied to it. The downside of those, again, is the expense, and you are going to have a little bit of waste in regards to the vegetables that go through. Okay, so that's kind of the differences in juicers and as you're looking at it, and it's always a good idea to just, if you have friends that are juicing, ask them which ones they like, but don't feel that just because I'm sitting here with a $150 juicer and I talked about a $300 juicer, that that's what you need to get. If you were brand new to juicing, again, that Black & Decker and there's a Cuisinart, both of them run around $30 to $35. They're great for starter juices. We're going to make our very first juice, which you guys have already tasted today, and that's the Green Goddess juice that you guys had in the back, the green one. Okay, so the Green Goddess has a ton of ingredients in a good way. Look at all this green. Green. So we've got kale, we've got spinach, cilantro. Did you know there was cilantro in that juice that you drank? Probably not. We've got cucumbers, apples, and then I call it my secret weapons. of lime and ginger. Okay? There is no juice that you can make that cannot be redeemed by a little bit of lemon or lime and a little bit of ginger. So this is the ingredients that are going to be in the Green Goddess. All right, so we are going to start out. When I juice, I always start with the most watery thing first. And in case, remember we talked about the base that you want some sort of water. So it would either be celery or a cucumber. So that's what we're going to go ahead and start with today. And that's my Breville. And she's a little loud, but she's not super loud. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw our cucumbers in. And we're just going to press her through. And then we're going to go ahead and do our next piece, which would be our lime. We're going to turn it up just a smidge. I love this Breville because it's multi-speed, which is kind of nice because you'll understand here in a second. And we'll just let that go. And then our next thing is apples. Apples are great. You can use any apple that you have on hand. I will tell you though that different apples have a different glycemic index. So the more greener your apple or yellower your apple, the lower the glycemic index is. Not that that's bad, but that means is that if you have like a Red Delicious that you're throwing in there, that's going to have way more sugar in it than a regular green apple would. Okay? Again, there's not a pro or a con, it's just that as you're putting things together, just understand that there is a difference. The closer that you can stay toward the green spectrum for your fruits and veggies, the better off you're going to be, not only from a calorie standpoint, but also just from a vitamins and minerals standpoint. So stay green. Everybody remember what the ratio was for juices? 2:1. That's right, 2:1. All right, so let's go ahead and throw some apples in there. Turn it up just a smidge. Apples also really great from a juice perspective. So you see how much juice we got out of that one cucumber? I mean, that was a ton, and that one lime. Now we're throwing these in, and again, we're getting a lot of juice that's going to come out of it. So we did one lime, one cucumber, we're doing 2 apples, ton of juice. Okay, the next piece is cilantro. If you buy organic cilantro, all you have to make sure is that you've rinsed it off really well to get if there's any dirt or anything on it, and you can just take about a handful, that's what it was, so I just took about a handful. Go ahead and you can throw it all in, so you don't need to take the leaves off or anything. Stems and all go in there. Super easy. But you saw how much that was, now see how much juice that comes out. It's not a whole lot. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is kale. So kale, I think, is just such a fun vegetable because when I was waitressing back in my college days, kale is what we put on the buffet to keep everything nice and neat, and now it's just not great. All right, so with the kale, you're going to take approximately 1 bunch, and you're going to take the stems off. Now, you can go really old school and get the knife and cut them all off. I don't do that. What I do is I just pull and break. So it makes it a lot faster. You can throw the whole thing of kale in there, a lot of people do, but you're going to find it might have a little bit of a gritty taste for you. Not that that's bad, it's just preference. And if you're starting out juicing, I would tell you to go ahead and get as much as you can of the stem off, because it's going to give you a smoother taste, and you still get all of the butter. Again, super easy, didn't even need a knife at all. Grab and tear. All right, so this is 1 bunch of kale. We're going to go ahead and throw it in. Again, watch how much juice comes out of that, out of the whole bunch. Okay, and then finally we're going to put a whole lot of spinach in here. Spinach has super high amounts of folate, vitamin A, iron, potassium, calcium, and zinc. I mean, if you think about that, that's just a huge amount of veggies, or a huge amount of minerals that's going to come out of this 1 5-ounce thing of spinach. It's also great if you are experiencing any menopause or premenopause symptoms or PMS, because usually what that is a sign of is that you're low in iron. And spinach is a great way of getting your iron. Again, you're seeing how many handfuls I'm putting in there and how little juice is coming out. That's why it takes so many green leaves to do it. Okay, and then the piece de resistance, the ginger. All right, it's a hard, so we're going to turn it up pretty much, which is a little goes a long ways. If you're starting out with ginger, again, I wouldn't put a ton in to begin with, and the reason not is because it does go a long ways. All right, this is approximately for 2 servings. Go ahead, I'll give these to the girls so they can make samples in the back. But again, you guys had it super easy, super good for you. Smells awesome. Again, great. The spinach has great things in it for your iron and vitamin A. Kale also is a superfood, so you have both of those in there. And then you have your cucumbers and apples for your other vitamins. I get asked a lot from my readers is, well, how do you make your juices for the entire week? And what I'll tell you is that with the juicer, you don't need to be worried about washing everything in between if you don't want to. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go directly into making the ABC juice. And the reason you don't is because a little bit of green in that ABC isn't going to hurt it. It's probably going to enhance it a little bit. But I will tell you that to always go to green to darker. So if you're starting with the green juice, if you're making them for like a week's worth of juices, start with your green ones and then go to your darker ones, because you don't necessarily want the beet juice to be in your pretty green smoothie. All right, so the next juice we're going to make is the ABC juice. ABC stands for apples, beets, and celery. I also refer to this as the 1, 2, 3 juice because it's essentially 1 large beet, 2 stalks of celery, and 3 apples. All right. Okay, so who was surprised? Who had the beet juice and then was surprised? Okay, who doesn't like beets and had the beet juice? Were you surprised? Yeah, I was too. I have to tell the story. So like when we were putting this class together, we were talking about what juices to do, and Jamie's like, well, I think we need to do a beet juice. And I was like, oh man. And I thought to myself, I really don't like beets, and I'm not sure I want that. And I tasted it, and I made it, and I tasted it, and I will tell you what, I drank that whole thing down because it was so amazing. Beets also pair really well with pineapple. Pineapple is one of my favorite things to juice because it has so many great properties, including inflammatory, and it helps with digestion incredibly well. So if you're looking for another, instead of maybe apples, you could look at putting a pineapple in there as well. And again, what's great too, we're doing a little bit of celery and a little bit of cucumber, but what I will tell you is that celery and cucumber go back and forth. So if you don't really typically like celery or don't really care for the taste, don't feel bad about subbing out with cucumber instead. That's okay. You're not going to ruin the juice. Again, it's just because it needs that water base. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start with our celery. We did 2 stalks of celery. I put a little bit more in here because I like a little bit more water base. And then we'll turn it up a smidge and add in our apples. It's 3 apples. Again, these are great red ones, and that's what we have, and that's awesome, but you can use any apple that you like. And again, it's giving us a really good juice base for when we add the beets. And I forgot to cut 1 apple, so I'll have to do the other. There's different schools of thought on apples too if you buy them organically. There's some juicers that will tell you can throw the whole apple in there, seeds and all, and don't have to worry about it. I'm kind of the old school that I kind of like getting the seeds out of it. But it's what your preference is. Okay, and then our beets. Beets are an amazing superfood. They're super good for anti-inflammatory. it helps with your sore joints and muscles, arthritis, and everything else. Oh, we got somebody in the back that wants that. Are you raising your hand for a smoothie? Oh, just a second, because I won't be able to hear you, hon. What? My husband, I do this a lot to my husband, like when he starts talking to me, and then I start juicing. What? Can't hear you, sorry. Well. Oh, look at that beautiful color, it's so pretty. The other thing that beets help with is they're alkalizing. And what alkalizing does is helps you with your metabolism. Lemon is also an alkalizer as well. And it just helps with digestion and helps speed things up. So again, it's a great superfood. It also helps with your immune system. So beets, these beautiful red things, are amazing for lots of reasons. So if you didn't try the beet juice because you knew it had beets and you were kind of skeptical, you need to give it a shot before you leave today. Okay, yeah, your question.
Why are you just tapping on it? Because I have the same model and I just ram it down.
Yeah.
Am I hurting the fruit?
You're not hurting the fruit. For what I have found is that when I tap, it allows, sometimes the waste is pretty bad when you hit it really hard because it'll go just totally, because of the centrifuge, it'll just shoot a whole bunch out. And so I found especially as you get more rootier, so like carrots, beets, apples, things that have a little bit harder dents, to just kind of tap in order to give the juicer time to be able to juice and to strain it.
Okay.
You're not hurting fruit though. It's not mad at you. It still likes you. Okay. So those are the juices. Again, both of these recipes, if you guys got the recipe cards, both of those are in there. Okay, so now we're gonna do smoothies. I know there were some of my favorite. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the differences in smoothies, or the differences between smoothies and juices. We're gonna talk a little bit about blenders. There's different types of blenders that are available on the market. I'm just gonna be really, okay, so there's different kinds of blenders. Your basic blender is gonna be like your Black & Decker or your Oster. These are great because they're super cost efficient. The cons is that if you plan on doing smoothies on a regular basis, you are going to burn the heck out of that blender in a really short period of time. The other thing is it's not going to be able to withstand the amount of smoothies that you're making or be able to blend them very well. It's going to get stuck. You know, if you ever try to make a milkshake with kind of a cruddy blender, you know, you're constantly taking it off, you're stopping, you're shoving things down. That's kind of what happens because the motor isn't strong enough to deal with it. And then finally, the quality of your smoothie is not going to be as great. You're going to have a lot of chunks. I would stick with, when you're doing green smoothies, I would not do kale. I would stick with only spinach recipes because spinach is a lot easier to blend than kale is, and you're going to find a better quality of smoothie because of it. Okay, your next level is kind of that smoothie maker, so your NutriBullet, your Ninja. These are awesome in that they make smoothies. That's what they do. That's what they were designed for. They have a super big motor. They have the technology behind them and specific blades that make smoothies awesome. So your quality of smoothie is going to be great. Also from a cost perspective, they're pretty cost effective. You can usually get one for around $100, which is a pretty great deal, sometimes less if you've got some great Kohl's Cash or coupons or something going on. But you're able to get that for a reasonable amount of time. The problem that I see with those is that you're not able to do anything else with them, okay? So like your Ninja is going to be a Ninja and it's going to be a Ninja, and that's really all it's going to be able to do. You will find that when you start on this lifestyle that you start getting more and more creative with your food. And you'll start making your own nut butters, and you'll start making, you'll start grounding your own flour, you'll start doing flaxseed, you'll start doing crazy things that you thought only people in communes did. Can I get an amen? And so those mid-sized ones are what they're made for. Those smoothie makers have a hard time doing that. And then finally, there's your higher end with your blend tech. I get it that they're expensive. I get that it is an investment. But you can buy a brand new blend tech for around $250. And I guarantee to know that you're going to have a piece of equipment that is going to be with you for 7 years guaranteed, no matter if it breaks or whatever, and you get a brand new one. That's, if you look at it over the course of those 7 years and what you paid, you know, that's about $35 a year. And that's pretty inexpensive for a really high piece of equipment. All right, so we are using a BlendTech Total Blender, and this is their base model. They do range up in there. You can get a factory refurbished one for around $200. A brand new one is going to be right at $289. All right, so our first recipe we're going to do is a banana smoothie. Okay, strawberry banana, which I bet almost everybody has had before. But what I love about this is that it's a great gateway for kids to get into smoothies. Because let's be honest, kids are always, sometimes if you throw out that green stuff right away, they're like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that, Mom. But when you throw out something pink and pretty, they're like, oh, that would be awesome. Okay, so remember what we started. Do you remember when we talked about smoothies, what we needed to have? We needed to have what? A base, okay? So our base today is going to be almond milk. We just did this wonderful organic almond milk, which is super yummy. Tastes great. Great if you've got kids that have lactose intolerance. And we're going to go ahead and put right around a cup of almond milk. Okay, it's important on how you put stuff in your blender too, all right? Because everybody thinks, I put the frozen stuff in first, right? Right, wrong, don't do that. Okay, so opposite. So we're going to do our liquid first. And then we're going to do about 10 ounces of strawberries. And that's a little bit less than a package. Okay, so a package is usually a pound. If you just want to throw the whole pound in there, that's great. These are awesome because if you get strawberries on sale or you buy the frozen works well too. We are just using fresh today. Fresh, yummy, organic strawberries. And I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to take this container home from Jamie when I leave because I love strawberries. Okay, and then 2 bananas. Again, I love, great thing about bananas is that you can stick them in the freezer as well. And it also helps with getting them up to their optimal ripeness. Okay, did you know that a banana at its best point is when it's brown? Anybody know that? Yeah, it's at its best point. It has the most vitamins and minerals in it at that point when it is super brown. And so what's great is that if you've got bananas that are kind of going bad, just stick them in the freezer and then use them for smoothies later on in the week or even later on in the year. Also really great for making banana bread and everything else. So don't ever feel like you've got to throw bananas away. Please never do that. Okay, and then finally we're going to do about a cup of ice. Again, you notice I put the ice on at the last, which is probably opposite of what a lot of people do at home. And the reason you want to do that is you want to allow the blender to be able to mix the stuff down at the bottom and then work its way up. All right, what's great about the Blend Tech is it has one button called Smoothie. It doesn't have like an 11. It has a smoothie, and that's what we're going to do. And smells good, and the consistency rocks. So I'm going to give that to our assistant so they can do samples with it. Okay, what's great about that smoothie too, from a perspective of just your foods and the fruits that you have in it, is that bananas help counter depression, which I don't know if you knew about or not. That they have a vitamin in there that helps being able to combat the signs of depression. So if you're ever feeling kind of blue or kind of down, or you're in Kansas and experience like the 27th grade day in a row, have a banana. Banana's going to be able to help you out and be able to kind of perk up your mood. Okay. The next one we're going to do is called the Simple Green Smoothie. And I love this recipe, honest to goodness, because it allows for so many more things to get thrown into it. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is a very simple smoothie that you can make. It's simple and green. But if you have other fruits that you love, like mangoes and strawberries and blueberries and all the rest of it, it's really easy to throw it in there in order to kind of change your taste profile. All right. So we're going to start with 4 cups of kale, or about 4 leaves with the stems removed. And remember what I said, you can just go ahead and just tear. You don't have to use the old knife. And I'm going to put a little more in there because I like a little bit more kale in my smoothie. I will admit it. Because if I'm going to drink it, I might as well get as many vitamins and minerals as I can. Can I get an amen on that one? Look, you guys are silent. That's right. All right. Okay, so we're going to start off with about 1.5 cups of liquid. Again, we're doing almond milk, but you can use anything. Like if you like coconut water, that's a great one. Regular water is a great one. I've had people that have friends that do juices. Again, whatever kind of, whatever taste profile you really love. And again, too, at this point, if you want to put in a little bit of your fat, so you want to put in a little almond butter, or you want to put in a little scoop of protein powder, do it right now, so the liquid, so it can get whipped up as it's going. Don't put it in on top. Top isn't good, because top's just going to make it stick it to the top, and then you're not getting any of your yummy protein. All right, 2 bananas again. Again, great source for helping with depression, because, you know, Kansans, it's dark here all the time, it seems like. You can also swap out bananas for mangoes. You just need something that has a little bit of that texture to it. Avocado is another great one to put in lieu of banana. So is mango. I think I said that, but we'll say it one more time again. Okay. Our kale leaves. All right, and then if we wanted to, we could even put more fruit in here. So again, this is a great simple starter smoothie, but if you wanted to put like some strawberries in there, this would be a great time to do that because it just increases the taste profile, a little bit of that sweet fruit to go kind of with the smoothness. Gonna be awesome. You can put any fruit in there and it's gonna taste good. All right, so we were talking about kale being a superfood and not something you put on a buffet earlier. Did you guys know that like 1 cup of kale, so basically what I had in my hand, has 206%, make sure I say this right, of vitamin A, and 134% of your vitamin D of daily allowance. Okay, so vitamin D is super important. That's another thing that makes you kind of feel sad, you know, in the winter when you're like kind of feeling like you're getting the blues. We call them the February, January blues. It's usually because your vitamin D is down. All right, so yeah, you can take a multivitamin or you can take a vitamin, or you can just make a green smoothie and get your vitamin D back up again. Again, Blend Tech has the awesome button. Oh, we forgot our ice. Called the smoothie button. They also have other buttons called like nut butter buttons. Dressing buttons, dip buttons. Here's what I love so much about these Blend Techs is that when you guys get these smoothies, you're gonna find that you've got no bits of kale or that they are so microscopic you can't even tell. All right, with the cheaper smoothie maker, you're always gonna get like I call salad in a glass. Yeah, you've all been there, man. It's like you're like, okay, again. So there's that. All right, I've got a mess in front of me now. All right, so those are the 4 recipes. All of those are in the handout that you guys got. In addition to that, I think there's a couple more in there too. And then if you had the chance, Blend Tech also has one for what they call kale ice cream, which is, I know sounds gross, but is amazing. And it shows how to make it inside their blender. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up so I can allow everybody to be able to have the chance to be able to ask questions at the end and do everything else. Just a couple of recaps before we go away. The first is that you're gonna get an email from the wonderful folks from Door to Door. And can we just give them a hand, by the way, for putting this on? Seriously, I don't know anybody else in Kansas City that loves helping people be able to get healthy more and does more for the community just in their ways of donating to the different events that matter, being able to put on educational events like this, and then just honestly their employees who just go above and beyond in customer service day in and day out. So if you are not a member of Door to Door, please take advantage of the code that's available for you to get $10 off your first box. It almost makes your first box 50% off, so why not give it a shot? Like I said, I've been a member of them for over 4 years. I can't imagine our life without them. So thank you guys so much for putting this on.